Welcome to our channel, and welcome to our first long-form documentary. Today, we're diving into one of the most complicated and highly debated geopolitical issues in South Asia, the legality of the Kashmir question. In popular discussions, the topic is often reduced to slogans like, "Implement the UN resolution," or "Kashmir needs a plebiscite." But behind these slogans lies a detailed legal and historical process that is rarely explained in full. In this video, we are going to walk through what the United Nations resolutions of 1948 to 49 actually said, what specific obligations Pakistan had according to the UN, whether Pakistan fulfilled those obligations, how later agreements, Tashkent, Shimla, and the Lahore Declaration altered the legal environment, and why, in the eyes of international law, Pakistan today does not have a strong legal claim to demand the implementation of the original UN resolution. This is not a political speech. This is not propaganda. This is a chronological and legal analysis of documented international agreements. So sit back, relax, and join us as we unpack one of the most contested narratives in modern geopolitics.
Subscribe to AmbatLegalInsight and stay legally informed with clear, practical, and reliable breakdowns of the law. Follow our channel and activate the bell icon so you never miss important legal updates, case analyses, and expert insights that matter to every citizen. Support our mission of spreading legal awareness by liking, sharing, and commenting, because your one action can help thousands become more legally empowered. Join the ALI community today across YouTube, podcast, and social platforms and take a step toward understanding your rights, your laws, and your justice. Ambat Legal Insight, because law is for everyone.
To understand the legalities, we need to return to 1947, the year British India was partitioned into two nations, India and Pakistan. At that time, more than 560 princely states were given the choice to join either nation. Jammu and Kashmir was one such princely state. It had a Hindu ruler, Maharaja Hari Singh, a Muslim-majority population, a strategic location bordering both India and Pakistan. Initially, the Maharaja sought to remain independent, but in October 1947, armed tribesmen from Pakistan's northwest frontier invaded Kashmir. Their goal was to overthrow the Maharaja and force accession to Pakistan. Facing an armed incursion and fearing the collapse of his administration, the Maharaja requested military assistance from India. India agreed, on one condition: sign the Instrument of Accession, the legal document used by all princely states joining India. On 26 October 1947, the Maharaja signed it. On 27 October, India accepted it, and Indian troops entered Kashmir to repel the invasion. It's important to note, the Instrument of Accession for Jammu and Kashmir was identical in format and legality to those signed by more than 560 other princely states. The UN never questioned its legality. Instead, India approached the United Nations in January 1948 to report aggression and request intervention to stop the fighting. This move brought the Kashmir issue into the international arena, leading to the creation of the United Nations Commission for India and Pakistan, UNCIP. This brings us to the famous UN resolutions which are frequently cited today, but rarely read in full. The United Nations passed two major resolutions concerning Kashmir: 13 August 1948, 5 January 1949. Together, these outlined a three-step peace and political process. Most people quote only the third step, the plebiscite, but the resolution was highly conditional. Let's break it down. Step 1. Pakistan's withdrawal. Mandatory. The resolution stated that Pakistan must withdraw all regular Pakistani military forces from Jammu and Kashmir, ensure the withdrawal of tribesmen, irregular fighters, and Pakistani nationals who entered the region for combat, stop all support, logistical, military, or financial, to fighters inside Kashmir. Most importantly, the UN clearly stressed that Pakistan's withdrawal was the essential, first non-negotiable step. Without this, nothing else could proceed. Step 2. India's reduction of forces. Only after Pakistan withdrew completely, India was required to reduce its forces to the minimum level needed for maintaining civil order, retain only as many forces as necessary to prevent external aggression. India could not begin Step 2 unless Pakistan fulfilled Step 1. Step 3. A UN-supervised plebiscite. After both withdrawals, the UN would appoint a plebiscite administrator, oversee a free and impartial vote, ensure the region remained demilitarized and peaceful before the vote. But this step was entirely conditional. The resolution did not guarantee a plebiscite on its own. It guaranteed a plebiscite only if Pakistan fully vacated the region. This is where popular narratives often diverge from the actual text. People claim, hold the plebiscite as per the UN resolution. But the resolution actually says, hold the plebiscite after Pakistan withdraws all troops and irregulars first. This condition was never met. The answer, based on UN records, is clear. Pakistan did not withdraw its forces. Despite negotiations and temporary ceasefires, Pakistan maintained a permanent military presence in the region, administrative control over POK, Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir, direct governance structures in Gilgit-Baltistan political institutions that contradicted the idea of a neutral, demilitarized zone. Worse, in 1963, Pakistan signed the Sino-Pakistan Agreement, ceding the Shaksgam Valley to China, a territory that was still part of the larger Kashmir region under dispute. This act would have violated the UN resolution even if Pakistan had withdrawn. Because Pakistan never fulfilled its mandatory Step 1, India's Step 2 obligations never kicked in. The plebiscite described in Step 3 legally could not occur. The resolution remained frozen at the starting line. Even UN representatives later stated that implementation was impossible under existing conditions. Thus, while Pakistan continued to insist on a plebiscite, the UN process itself had already stalled due to Pakistan's non-compliance. However, the legal situation evolved even further, through bilateral treaties signed voluntarily by both nations. Over the decades, India and Pakistan fought additional wars in 1965 and 1971. Each war ended with negotiations that produced binding bilateral agreements. These agreements fundamentally changed the legal framework. Let's go through them one by one. 1. Tashkent Agreement, 1966. After the 1965 war, both nations signed the Tashkent Agreement in Uzbekistan. Key principles. Both nations reaffirmed their commitment to peace. They pledged to resolve disputes through direct, peaceful negotiations. They agreed to restore the status quo and respect each other's territories. The important part, the Tashkent Agreement shifted the dispute from an international framework to a bilateral one. It didn't nullify the UN resolutions, but it reoriented the path toward direct negotiations, reducing the UN's role significantly. 2. Shimla Agreement, 1972. After the 1971 war, India and Pakistan signed the Shimla Agreement, arguably the most significant document governing their relations today. The agreement is very clear and extremely important from a legal standpoint. Here are the core elements. Clause 1. Governing principles. The principles of the United Nations Charter shall govern the relations between India and Pakistan. This affirms that both countries commit to international law. Clause 2. Bilateralism. The two countries shall settle their differences by peaceful means through bilateral negotiations. This is the game-changing clause. It states explicitly, all disputes, including Kashmir, must be resolved bilaterally. Third-party or external mediation cannot occur unless both countries agree. This clause directly conflicts with Pakistan's demands to bring the UN back into the dispute. Clause 4. The line of control. The line of control shall be respected by both sides without prejudice to the recognized position of either side. This formalized the LOC as the de facto boundary. In simpler terms, the Shimla Agreement replaced the temporary ceasefire line with the LOC and created a bilateral framework for all future negotiations. This makes the old UN resolution, which was based on demilitarizing the entire region, incompatible with the post-1972 reality. Even the UN acknowledges this and insists disputes must be settled bilaterally. 3. Lahore Declaration, 1999. After nuclear tests by both countries in 1998, tensions rose sharply. To stabilize the region, India and Pakistan signed the Lahore Declaration in 1999. Key points include reaffirmation of the Shimla Agreement commitment to resolve all outstanding issues bilaterally, pledge to avoid nuclear escalation, commitment to intensify diplomatic efforts to build peace. The important takeaway: Pakistan not only signed Shimla, it reaffirmed it again in 1999. This double affirmation cements bilateralism as the legally recognized method of resolution, and under bilateralism, Pakistan cannot unilaterally demand UN intervention because it voluntarily agreed not to.
Subscribe to Ambat Legal Insight and stay legally informed with clear, practical, and reliable breakdowns of the law. Follow our channel and activate the bell icon so you never miss important legal updates, case analyses, and expert insights that matter to every citizen. Support our mission of spreading legal awareness by liking, sharing, and commenting, because your one action can help thousands become more legally empowered. Join the ALI community today across YouTube, podcast, and social platforms and take a step toward understanding your rights, your laws, and your justice. Ambat Legal Insight, because law is for everyone.
Pakistan did not fulfill Step 1 of the UN resolution. The plebiscite was conditional. The condition was not met. Because Step 1, Pakistan's withdrawal, was never completed, Step 3, plebiscite, cannot take place. 2. Later agreements supersede earlier resolutions. In international law, later bilateral treaties override unimplemented earlier proposals. Pakistan voluntarily signed the Tashkent Agreement, 1966, the Shimla Agreement, 1972, the Lahore Declaration, 1999. Each emphasized bilateralism and reduced or eliminated external involvement. Thus, Pakistan cannot legally revert to the UN resolution while remaining bound by Shimla and Lahore. 3. International bodies follow Shimla, not the UN resolution. Since the 1970s, the UN consistently states Kashmir should be resolved bilaterally under the Shimla Agreement. This clearly shows the international community's understanding of the legal framework. 4. Pakistan's actions contradict the UN resolution. Pakistan never demilitarized POK integrated Gilgit-Baltistan into administrative structures, ceded territory to China, maintains military control in the region. These steps violate the obligations of the UN resolution and weaken Pakistan's legal claim to demand implementation. 5. Principle of estoppel. In international law, estoppel means a country cannot break an agreement and then claim benefits from an earlier one. Pakistan agreed to bilateralism in 1966, reaffirmed it in 1972, reaffirmed it again in 1999. Therefore, Pakistan cannot now claim that the UN framework should override bilateral agreements it voluntarily signed. So, what does all of this tell us? The Kashmir dispute is emotional and politically sensitive, but from a legal perspective, the pathway is well defined. The UN resolution of 1948 was conditional. Pakistan never fulfilled the primary condition, withdrawal from POK. This stalled the process indefinitely. Later, India and Pakistan signed binding agreements, Tashkent, Shimla, and Lahore. These agreements shifted the dispute firmly into a bilateral framework. Pakistan reaffirmed bilateralism multiple times. Today, international law recognizes Shimla as the governing document, not the UN resolution. This doesn't remove the political complexities, but it does clarify the legal framework. Pakistan has no legal basis today to demand implementation of the UN resolution, because it did not fulfill its obligations and because it voluntarily agreed to later treaties that superseded that resolution. Thank you for watching this deep dive. If you found this informative, please like, share, and subscribe. In future videos, we can explore the history of Gilgit-Baltistan, the 1963 Sino-Pakistan Agreement, or a full breakdown of the instrument of accession itself. See you in the next episode.